if you are His Majesty the King, it's a very, very thin line that you have to deal with, isn't it? Because if you also think about it, when we had our late and brilliant monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, she came from a totally different era. And you have to remember, no 24-hour news, no digital platforms as such, because people were more deferential, certainly more respectful. And actually, she simply didn't get involved. For over 70 years, nobody truly knew what the Queen felt politically about anything. She just sort of stood back, did the job, representing us on the world stage to, I think, great aplomb. I was a big fan, as you know, and still remain so. The problem is, and this is really the problem that Queen Victoria had with, of course, the Prince of Wales, Edward VII. He had a long time to get involved with things. Now, unlike, of course, the long wait that His Majesty the King Charles had, Edward VII really kept himself busy with nights at the music hall, dalliances, and, well, kind of being a jolly good soul, as it were. Many might think this would have been a better option in many respects for His Majesty the King, because quite frankly, what's happening now is the popularity is kicking back. And none more so when you come out with statements that don't necessarily resonate with your subjects, the people that do want to support you, but seemingly you appear off kilter. As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome one and all. Lovely to have your company. By the way, I know I shouldn't tell, well, I'll confess to this. I've just, 2 mince pies already. I know. They have these beautiful short crust pastry mince pies at this local bakery. And when you just think, well, I haven't had much today. Let me know what your guilty treat is. That have you done the same thing? Afterwards you think, I shouldn't have really eaten these. I know. But you just do. And in the end, you feel really bad, don't you? But then you think, well, it's winter, it's raining, it's miserable. Does it matter? The only thing missing, of course, was a nice dollop of cream. But you can't really do that when you're on the go. Can you? Filming around just doesn't look good. But there you go. Let me know, what is your treat that you shouldn't have had already today? And don't cheat, be honest. I've already got my eye on a Twix chocolate bar. I know, toffee and biscuit. Oh, lovely. Don't get me going. Now, don't get me going about this, because this is really, truly backfiring. This was a new interview and a new piece for a documentary that His Majesty the King sat down and talked about. Now, as I said, I'm a big fan of King Charles. Don't agree with everything. And, I might point out as well, yesterday we did a story about Tom Parker Bowles, and many of you wrote in the comments, Tom isn't royal. I stated that at the beginning of the video. I said, Tom is not royal, but continually people kept writing, he's not a royal. I mean, how do you spell it out? You know what I'm saying? Tom Parker Bowles is not royal. Do you get it now? I said that at the beginning, but nobody wanted to hear that bit. So just to clear that bit up, right? Now, where it gets interesting with His Majesty the King is this. He's spoken about climate change again. And I know these are passionate things, and there are things that, of course, mean a lot to a lot of people. The problem that you've got is when you speak about something, unless you're exemplary yourself, it's very difficult. Remember the actress, remember Emma Thompson whirling around on that pink boat in Oxford Circus. Oh, she wanted to save the planet, but she flew in private jet, if you remember, and flew back out private jet with a nice fancy meal. Meanwhile, of course, she was saving the planet, absolutely. Now, this is the problem with His Majesty the King. He has rightly said that he wants to leave a better world for his grandchildren. Very nice, very moving, and we know Catherine, William and Prince Louis and everybody loves nature, as I do, and we all try and do our bit. But the problem that he's now getting, and this is what I'm saying about the association of these things, the problem that you've got when you say things like that is, well, just look at your youngest son. Prince Harry, another advocate of, we shouldn't be flying everywhere, but I have to fly private jet. His latest new rich friend, Victoria Jackson, has made, of course, the private jet at his disposal whenever Markle and him want to fly anywhere. Never with the plebs. No, half-empty plane flying around the world. Now, again, here's the thing where Charles has got this wrong, in my opinion. You see, take your son in hand. Already he's flown to Canada twice, virtually on an empty plane. He's flown back into London privately. And also now he's just popped over to New York. These are just the flights that we know about. What about the wife, Markle, flying around, of course, to Paris, private jet? You get the picture. So nobody is going to take any statement seriously from even His Majesty the King, who I think has got the best interests at heart. I do understand where he's coming from in a passionate mode. The problem that you have is, it's the people around you that let you down, sir. So unless you deal with the problem in hand and curtail this wayward son about his endless climate remit, meanwhile just laughing at the rest of us that have to struggle on public transport, well, it really is not doing you any favour with your many supportive subjects. Anybody else agree? Neil Shawn, Kensington, London.